Hello and welcome to today's video. My name is Joseph. I hope everyone's doing well today. So in today's video, I sat down and tried to work out what I wanted to show you guys, and I figured I'd go dragging out some old code I had developed a while ago. This is a basics version of it because I'm going to show you kind of the nightmare I went through before getting into it. Welcome to the original Gamemaker, and welcome to one of my nightmare projects. In this project, somewhere, I had some code to do with AI pathing. As you can see, complete nightmares. But I found it, I dragged it out, and what we've got here is a system, and I'm going to show you guys, you'll see I've got a green backing with some squares, and I've got a player object, and what I will do instead of using the arrow keys is I'm going to click, and you can see it's got some dynamic pathing. So I can click anywhere, it will update itself and move to the position. You'll see here my little house outline I've developed, which these are the walls. If I click here, so if I click in this room here, it's going to dynamically work out the pathing. If I click over here, it's going to dynamically work out the pathing. One thing it doesn't work with, and I've got to work out how to fix it at some point, is the player marking out a certain zone, but that's, again, something I'm going to play with. But as you can see, it works it out based on the gridding. So if I get into how this works, it's super simple, but it doesn't help if you haven't looked at the code for a few years. So if I go to the object here, which is the global mapping, or global pathing, I do a global path map. I create a value that can just be handed over to other objects. I have mp underscore grid underscore create, and that starts at 0, 0, and it goes for the width of the room and height of the room. And it divides it into a 32 by 32 grid. So if I wanted to, we could drop this down to a 16 and 16, like so. So we just change all these values to 16, 16, 16. And what we'll see is the grid actually becomes a smaller resolution, which then, also yeah, if I click on a wall, it can't achieve the path. So you can see there, by dropping down the resolution, we can actually increase the accuracy, stuff like that. So pretty straightforward. The next part of this is in my draw event. I actually draw the grid so I can see what's going on here. So that's just as simple as just doing a draw of the grid. Under the player object, we've got a few more things going on. So I've just done a quick little, basically a mouse X and mouse Y click that sets to -1. That's important so we're not drawing something above that, so if it reaches above 0 we'll start drawing it. I then create a temp path value because I use it in both my step and draw. So if I go to my step event, you'll see here I've got a left click. When I left click, I store the mouse X and mouse Y in the two respective values. I then do a temporary path, or I create a ID for one. Under the mp underscore grid path, I then reference my global path, which goes back to this object. And then under there, I pull my temp value, my starting X and Y, my destination X and Y, and I set it to move. I set it to actually function. Then I set the type of path, so this is to do with smoothing of paths and the precision. So you can actually modify that in these two values here. I then tell it to start the path at a speed of 2, my action at the end of the path is to stop, and the absolute set to false. Right click basically stops the X and Y, and same as reaching the destination. So in theory, and I haven't tested that part, so you can see there, because I don't cancel out the path, it still continues. So that would just be a matter of putting in a cancel function. Under my draw, I draw the player, and then I just do a simple if this is equal to this, then draw these two values, which is a circle to show my destination click, and the draw path, which indicates to me where it's going. Obviously not needed once you've finished your testing. Now under the wall object, this took me the longest to find because I couldn't quite remember how this all worked. Because if I go to the object here, I'm just going to load it so you guys can see. You can see the player here doesn't actually mark out anything where this is actually marked out. And the reason that is the wall has to report back to the global and add itself into the static grid. Keyword static, I'm trying to work out a way to make it more dynamic, so when the player moves, it blocks out certain zones. But if I go to the wall, not the sprite, the wall, you'll see that I've got two values. I've set it to solid, which is fine. It will work without setting it to solid, I'm pretty sure. And then I've got an MP grid add instance global. So I'm reporting back to the grid. I'm adding its ID to the grid. And then I'm saying true. So by doing that, so if I comment this out, what you're going to see, just so you can see the fun I had, what will happen is it doesn't recognize it as the actual wall object. Well, actually, that was a bad example too. I just realize what's going on here as well. So let me just bring up the depth. Sorry about that, guys. Totally didn't even think about that. I think it's -5 to bring it up in depth. I've worked out depth as well. Or is it +5? This is the only part of depth I always forget. Beautiful. So, see how it's all marked out in red? That indicates to the pathing that it can't go through there. So green indicates good, red indicates bad. So that's a very simple AI path. So you could apply this to characters in games by basically, instead of having a function where I'm clicking to engage it, you could attach it to a talking event or something and then have it follow the player or set an X and Y destination in your game. So it's pretty useful. Like I said here, I think, and don't quote me on this, but it would be something here to cancel. This would be like path. Add, it may be like a delete or some end. I'm going to guess path end, just to fix that. Normally I read up on the codes before I apply them as well. There you go. So yeah, so basically by adding a path end, I can stop it mid-path. So that's today's tutorial. I hope it made sense. A big thank you to everyone on the channel. You guys are all amazing. Don't forget there's a Discord there as well. I check regularly every day. And yeah, you guys can stay awesome. And I'll see you guys next time. See you later.